Welcome along to the Old Gold Club. I'm Mikey Burrows. Alongside me, as ever, is Iwelumo. In this episode, our Christmas special, we're joined by a man who made 213 appearances over 8 years, 73rd on the all-time list, scoring 6 goals. Welcome to the Old Gold Club, Kevin Patrick Foley.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome, and thanks for wearing your Christmas jumper, by the way.
Do you like it?
Yeah, it's a good one.
My wife got me that.
Looms doesn't actually properly own one at the minute. We're going to show that on the screen for everybody. Looms doesn't actually properly own one at the minute, or he claims that he's lost it. So we found him one. I mean, look at this bad boy that Looms is wearing. This is unbelievable.
Produced for me, haven't you? Yeah.
That is tight as well.
In between, yeah, it's large, isn't it?
It's like he's like a Wolves superhero. Wolves superhero outfit.
Well, I've not got my hat on, but you made me want to.
We wanted to get Kevin Foley back on our thing because Kevin actually was part of the original pilot episode that we put together of the Old Gold Club that you will never have seen. Some may have heard a little bit that we put out of it, but others will never have seen it. So it was important to us to get you in for this and kind of tell your story of how things went at Wolverhampton Wanderers, because it maybe didn't end in a great way, but if we go back to the start, you played so well against Wolves that Mick McCarthy went straight out and signed you.
Yeah,
that true?
Yeah, that was it really. When I think Luton, we had a good season in the Championship, finished 10th. Then the following season, we finished second bottom, got relegated. And then at the end of the season, there was a bit of speculation. Wolves were Luton were in a bit of trouble, wanted to sell some players. And Wolves was the biggest team that were interested in me. And as soon as I found out, I was just itching to try and sign for Wolves. And I met Mick, and the first thing he said to me was, I'm basically signing you off the back of the 2 games you played against us last season. Thought you were fantastic.
Right, so on that, give us an insight then, and the people listening to what actually goes through. You're at your boyhood club that you've been there, you've served, been a great servant, but then opportunity comes. So people talk about loyalties and all this, but it doesn't come into it. It's about progressing, isn't it? A bigger club comes in, so opportunity to go on, better money, of course, because financially. So what goes through your head when you go home to family, whatever it is? What's going on?
The first thing was a bit of fear, really, a bit of nerves, because Luton. I've been at Luton since the age of 9. I grew up in that town. From 9 to the age of 22, all I've known is Luton Town Football Club. Absolutely loved it there. And then I'm thinking, Wolves is massive. Am I going to fit in? Am I going to be good enough, etc. So there's a little bit of fear, but then once you go there and I met Mick on the Sunday, and it all happened really quickly. Before you know it, I'm training on the Monday and I'm making my debut on the Tuesday. And it was a bit of a whirlwind. Stayed in the Mount Hotel around the corner, which all the players still stay in now. Everyone stayed at the Mount. Just wanted to get to Wolves and wanted to do as well as I can and just try and hit the ground running, really.
So when you came in, what was the ambition of the club then? What was the main objective?
I think Steve Morgan had literally just bought the club about a week or 2 before. I think he'd just signed Jarvo as well.
Yeah.
I remember actually I was in the reception at the training ground and I knew who Steve Morgan was, and he just walked past me. He probably didn't have a clue. He thought I was probably a youth team player or something. But he probably didn't realise he'd just bought me for some money. But I think the ambition was, obviously Mick wanted to buy young and hungry players, and I think it was really evident that that's what he did. I think everyone in that squad that season, the only player that I believe that played in the Premier League was Jody, possibly, and Mickey Gray, obviously, as well. He'd come in for a season. So everyone else was like itching to play, would come from the lower leagues. Wardy and Keogh did come from Ireland. Kites had come from non-league. Yep. Players like Jarvo and myself, Dave Edwards, all come from like League One. So we all had this really burning ambition to try and get to the Premier League. For me, that was my biggest dream, was to play in the Premier League and play in the World Cup. Thankfully I managed to do one. And it was, I wouldn't be sitting here today if I probably didn't play them 2 good games for for Luton against Wolves. That's just the way football and life is. It's fine lines sometimes.
Because you fitted in straight away. You were so popular that even in a promotion season, you were the fans' player of the year.
Yeah, I mean, wow, like, obviously you had Sylvan banging the goals in, you had Looms banging goals in, Wardy playing unbelievable at left back, who'd gone from playing winger and striker the season before, Kites, Jarvo, Cole Henry. The list is endless.
So this is what I mean. So how did you get that
I
award?
don't know. I think probably the biggest thing for me was my consistency, maybe. My consistency and being fit and being available, and I don't know, just trying to do my best.
Yeah, but you had everything. That's what I'm saying. You're saying consistency. Like you created goals defensively. You were sound. You were always an outlet. And I think that was the important thing. And even the players, we knew how important you were. I know there's scoring goals is probably one of the hardest things, but you played such a massive part, and all the credit you got was justified. Surely you knew.
Oh yeah. I felt like that was my best ever season. And it's nice. It was very nice to get noticed. But by the fans and be appreciated by them and people like yourself, my teammates, and but without my teammates, I wouldn't be able to play like that. So it goes both ways, and yeah, what a season that was.
You then get injured in the first Premier League.
Yeah, that's right.
How did you cope with that?
It was a bit of a killer, really, because your whole career is built up to mine was trying to get to the Premier League. First game against West Ham. That day I'm thinking, oh my God, like, I'm going to be on Match of the Day tonight. Like, I'm not going to be on, I don't know, some highlight show at like 12:30 in the morning. I'm going to be on, we're playing with Nike balls. We're not playing with the mitre balls. We're playing with not proper, but we're just playing with Premier League footballs. Yeah. Just these little, I've got a Premier League badge on my shoulder.
Part of the Premier League sticker book.
Yes, part of the Panini. It's not Panini, is it?
It used to be Merlin. I think
Merlin, Magic Merlin. Remember, you used to have them things in the back. We used to. Do you know what I'm talking about? It's like
it looms to something.
I'm going off. He's nodding.
Yeah,
it was like a 3D thing.
Yeah, the hologram thing.
The hologram, yeah. And like
you're talking about.
You'd have to look and you'd have to see the wizard, the Merlin fella, but I could never see it. But my mates could. Anyway, I'm going off topic. So all these things, and then we lost 2-0, and I'd done my medial knee ligaments, and it was a bit of a killer, really. And then after that, that's when we started. I think you had an injury as well.
I got injured the first game out in Perth, Australia, didn't I? So I had, like you said, just built up to the Premier League, what every player wants to get to, and it was kind of taken away from you. So no matter what shape you're in, for me, it was 4 months without football.
Yeah.
But it was when Kev got injured, it was one of those things that we just kept on pushing ourselves. You know, I think in the gym, I think we got out on the grass. Well, you got in the grass a little bit sooner before I did, and we just kind of go from there. But it's difficult for any professional when you're especially come into the training ground, you watch the boys. You can just watch them train as you're doing all your.
That was the worst.
It's the hardest thing
because the gym looks out onto the pitch.
Yeah,
it's got massive windows, and you just look out and they're doing passing drills. They're doing five-a-sides. They're doing games, crossing, finishing. You think, I don't want to see them having fun. I just want to be out there. And then what my trouble was that season was I kept trying to come back too early. And then you'd have a little setback and come back, and then because I just like yourself, you just want to get out there as soon as possible. And then I don't think it was until just before maybe Christmas or November before I sort of got a run in the team again.
Well, this is the thing that when you eventually did get back fit, Ronald Zubar and Steers, Richard Stearman, had kind of nailed down the right back slot, and you effectively were suddenly a midfielder.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, we know Steers' versatility, and we signed Zubo, who's an absolute athlete up and down. And then I think I come on in the Tottenham game away. We won 1-0 just to shore it up in midfield. 1-0. Then we had a quick game. We had another game a few days later against Man United, the big controversial where Mick made all the changes. So I started in that and I was captain, which was a real honour for me. And then we lost 3-0, but we actually played really well. And all the lads that come in that hadn't been playing actually put on a good performance. And then it was the big controversy, and Mick had made changes, and they were talking about going to fine him. Did they fine him in the end?
I think he got a suspended fine, didn't he?
Yeah, suspended fine, and then there was big pressure on that Burnley game the weekend after, and I was the only person in the team that kept my place. Then I sort of found myself it was like a 4-3-3 stroke 4-5-1 formation. I was on the right, on the outside right, and I was there. Listen, I'm not a Java, I'm not a kite, I'm not going to take people on, but I'm going to try and shore it up and try and play inside a little bit and combine with the midfielders. And I just tried to work my socks off, and at times it wasn't pretty, but I really enjoyed that role, and we managed to win that game, I think 2-0. And then we went on, and we were quite hard to beat. We'd lose by the odd goal, we'd win by the odd goal, we'd draw 1-1, draw 0-0. And as far as I was concerned, I was in there to do a certain type of job, and we managed to stay out that season.
So did you have that conversation with the gaffer then, Mick? Did you say, like, because you're a right back, I know you're a good footballer, so you can play a bit anywhere, or was it just about getting that start, no matter where it was?
For me, it was never. I would never go in and say, I want to play right back, or why am I not playing right back? For me, and I always say this now, I was just like a kid. I just wanted to play football, whether it was left back, right back, midfield, right midfield. I just really enjoyed playing football, and as long as I was playing, I was happy. I know people say to me, "Oh, why didn't you play right back?" or that sort of killed you off a little bit, but I don't see it like that. I really don't. And the good thing is, I had a good relationship with Zuba because he was so attacking. So he'd go on the outside, and I would just slot in for him. And vice versa. So I really, really enjoyed that season. Java was the outlet down the left. Yep. I'd try and win things off Doyle's flick-ons and try and get involved and try and keep the ball. It was just really enjoyable.
So when you signed your contract extension 2010, 2011, was that a no-brainer then? Because obviously you wanted to come, you wanted to fight for your place, you wanted to make it your own.
Yeah.
You still had a point to prove.
Yeah, definitely. Signed a contract extension. And because I'd been skipper, I think I'd been skipper for about 8 games in a row, and that was super proud for me, like to be the captain of Wolves. Definitely one of the highlights of my career. And we'd gone on quite a good run there, and I remember I might have had a year or maybe a year and a half left, and I think my agent just said, he's the captain now. He's been the captain, standing captain. He's done relatively well, and Mick sort of, and the club offered me a deal, and I was delighted to sign another contract.
Do you ever feel though that the fact that a bit like Steers, that because you were versatile, that you never really got to have the run that would have defined you in that position?
Maybe it was down to my personality that doesn't kick up a fuss and say, if I'm going to throw my toys out the pram, if I'm playing right midfield, I want to play right back. I'm not. I'm committed. Like I will work hard, and maybe that's down to the type of person I am. I don't know.
Because Steers on his episode talked about the fact that when Stolar Solbakken came in and kind of said, where do you want to play?
Yeah.
And he was like, I want to be centre half.
Yeah.
I have to be centre half. And they tried to get him to play right back a bit, and he was like, no, it needs to be centre half.
Yeah.
And arguably, he then goes on to have a much better Wolves career when he came back, because he'd made that stand, I guess, and decided, I have a position.
Yeah, I think it's a stance I think that a player should take it, in my opinion. I think going out and playing and just being happy to play is great. It shows the respect you've got for the manager and the football club. But Kevin Foley as a midfielder, as good as it is, isn't as good as Kevin Foley as a right back who knows that position inside and out. And that's why I think it's a great question to ask, is that if you play right back, captain, or whatever it may be, you know it. You know the position, you know what you bring, you know what you deliver, and it's being a midfielder, and like you said, it wasn't pretty at times. It was, you just worked your socks off and all that. That's what you're going to give. That's why Mick can put you in that position and know what he's going to get. But it's depending on whoever the opponent is, what you need. Like the pace of Zubar to get up and down, the energy. You brought that as well. Defensively, I'd say you're probably better than Ronald. And but there's certain things that a manager has to weigh up what players can bring for every match. And Mick and TC, that's what they done. They broke it down. They tried to nullify the strengths of other teams, and having Kevin Foley in midfield on the right side at Burnley, whatever it was, that served a purpose. But it doesn't serve your purpose. And I think every player should then go to the manager and say, like, right, I don't have an issue playing whatever what you play, but you know my position's right back, and I feel that I can give you more in that position. And I think that's something, and it's just one of them. It's because it's being versatile can be a negative, I think, for a lot of footballers coming up.
Yeah.
They can be put in this position, that position. They have to nail down a position to like make a kind of legacy for themselves.
It can definitely work both ways. And Mick did always say to me, look, I know you're a right back. But I was doing a job at the time. Look at Wardy. I mean, Wardy was a striker stroke winger.
Till George, wasn't it? Ipswich.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Done his knee in a bad way. And then Wardy slots in there, and wow, look at him now. Like he's playing Championship. He's
internationally.
He's had loads of appearances for Ireland. He's played in the Premier League for a few different teams. It's been super.
In a way, is that partly to do with what then happened to that team? Because you had a lot of people in that squad who could play a number of kind of different positions. There wasn't, maybe I'm speaking out of turn, but from someone on the outside, it was like, were there enough people who were completely dominant in their position? When you looked at that team and that group, I'm not sure it was ever like, this is the absolute best first 11 that we have. Is that fair or unfair?
Yeah, maybe it's quite fair. I know the gaffer used to chop and change a lot, personnel, and a lot of people weren't happy, were they? It was people didn't always play in their right positions. But I think, like you say, when you touch on a manager, sometimes a manager looks at it and thinks, how am I going to get the result today? How am I going to? And I know that doing a bit of coaching now, sometimes I just look at, I know someone's going to give me a bit of flair, but I know this person, I know what he's capable, what else he's going to give me as well. And you've just got to weigh up. And whatever the gaffer does, it's for the benefit of the team. It's always for the benefit of the team. And that group of lads, we were honest and hardworking. And
because it's like in that first Premier League season, I'm just looking it up now, I think there were only 4 players who played over 30 games in the season in total, including cup games. And that was Jody Craddock, Carl Henry, Matt Jarvis, and Kevin Doyle.
Kevin Doyle.
That's kind of.
That's 4 players that their position is sound, isn't it? They're not playing anywhere else other than the position, and that's what I'm saying to you.
Yeah, 5 Christoph Berry.
Yeah.
And that's where so the gaffer will think, right, okay, I know what I'm going to get from Jody, Christoph, Doyler, Carl Henry. So that's a core right there, isn't it? And then we'll put now consistency around them, good footballers, good energy, and just try and grind out the result. And that's it's good management, because the gaffer knows he's going to go to you and say, right, I know you're a right back, but I know that you're going to deliver in this position. I know you can do a job and nullify the threat or do whatever. And that comes down to, as a coach, you've just said yourself, sometimes you'll go for consistency over a flair. But then sometimes that flair can come on and get you. And it's just management. That's what it's down to. And I think you can see by the stats here, that's what Mick done. He's got good, honest players that he brought together, hungry players that took Wolves to that level and stayed there. Because they delivered as a united group, as a collective. They knew how to go over the line.
Well, I guess the biggest problem then is that the team didn't stay there.
Yeah, in the end, it's. I think actually the second season of the Premier League, I think we, even though we stayed up on the last day, I felt that we played better. And I remember Mick always at the start of the season, I think we were there or thereabouts near the relegation, but I felt like we were playing a lot more passing football. And I remember we'd come in after a game we might lose, and Mick would always be like, we're going to be all right, lads. We'll be all right. And I believed it, and a lot of the lads believed it. And he said, let's keep playing. We'll keep doing what we're doing. And listen, as the season went on, we started to pick up more points. And yeah, we stayed up last day. That was probably one of the
What went
craziest
wrong,
days.
Kev? What went wrong that season that Wolves came down?
The third season.
Yeah.
I mean, you were injured for a long part of it, weren't you?
Personally, for me, I played probably, I don't know how many games I played, 20. I wasn't the same player that I was the season before. I mean, at the end of that second season in the Premier League, I signed a contract, went away, come back for pre-season, and my ankle wasn't right, and because I got a kick actually the season before at Liverpool when we won 1-0, and I was on crutches for a couple of days after, and then I shook it off and I played for the rest of the season. And then I don't know, the rest in the summer, I come back and I just couldn't run.
Yeah.
I was like, and I'd done all pre-season trying to get through it, and it was in so much pain. And at the end, I think I was on the bench for the first game of the season. I might have played a cup game at Northampton, and I was like to the physio, I need to see someone. So had X-rays, scans, and ended up having a surgery.
Yeah, you couldn't really affect it. But what about you were still in and around it, the dressing room? We've had many guests on about the divide in the dressing room, the atmosphere coming in. Was that very evident, even though you weren't part of it, or not?
I wouldn't say. I just think results affect everything. Like, so if you're winning, great, everyone gets on. Everyone. As soon as you start losing, then cracks start to appear, and it was just horrible. Like, you don't go out not wanting to win. You don't. And when things are going against you, and then the fans are getting angry, and everyone's getting angry, and you can't buy a win, and you lose to West Brom in the way we did, which was awful, and then we lose to Liverpool. It was tough times, but it wasn't for the want of trying. But for me personally, I just couldn't run, I couldn't twist, I couldn't. But because I'm too honest, and because I want to play, I want to play every game. And that was my downfall as well. And at the end of that season, obviously, I had the Euros as well, which I was aiming to try and get into. So I wanted to get as fit as quick as I possibly could. And I know the surgeon said to me, "You'll be back in 3 months." And after 3 months, I was like, "This don't feel right." But I've been told 3 months, so I'll just go and I'll get through it, and it'll get better. And it just never did, really.
Yeah. So after relegation, double relegation, you find yourself in the bomb squad under Kenny Jackett. And talk to me, you've just said there about how honest you are.
Yeah.
You want to play every game. Fantastic servant from the club. How do you react to being put in that?
Well, originally I think Kenny came in his first day, and he had a meeting with the whole squad. And after the meeting, he said, "I want to see these players after." And I think it was Carl Henry, Wardy, Rog, Jamie O'Hara, I think Kevin Doyle, not sure. I want to stay behind. So they stayed behind, and basically he said to them, we weren't part of that. He said, "You're not going to be training. You're going to be training on your own. You're going to be out of the dressing room, etc." So originally I was me, Stearman, Edo, from that sort of core. We were still in the group, and then I had a meeting with Kenny, and he just said, "How's it going?" And he just wanted to, introduce himself, and me introduce myself. And he said, I said, "Look, I've been struggling with injury for the last season or two." And he said, "No, don't worry. I know about it. We'll work with you. We'll give you days off, whatever you need, anything extra." I was like, "Great, fantastic." But in the end, I just couldn't get myself fit. And if I was the manager, I wouldn't have picked me to play. I wouldn't have picked me to be on the bench, because I just couldn't do the things that I used to be able to do. So I ended up fizzling into that group, but it wasn't for he's a bad egg or anything like that. It's just a frustration for me not to be able to, because I really like Kenny Jackett. I like what he was about. He was straight to the point. He was quite a strict personality, but he'd like to play football, and I just liked everything about him. And I was just ashamed I couldn't, play for him.
Because what did it mean to you having that done? Because the club had been a big part of your life, and I know you, and I know you pretty well. And there was a small group of fans, I think, that accuse you of laughing and smiling.
I remember. Yeah, Barnsley, wasn't it?
Barnsley,
yeah. I remember that, yeah.
What do you say to that?
And I remember seeing them comments, actually, and I was shocked by it. You know, I think I was really struggling in that game, like physically. But again, because the person I am, I want to play, I want to do my best. And I think they accused me of laughing, or you might know better than me, but I just thought that's not me. That's not. And I know there was someone shouting at me as I was going down the tunnel, giving me abuse. And I just thought, I'm not going to accept someone shouting. I'll shout something back to them, that person, and that was it. But as far as laughing and stuff like that, no, that wasn't. Whether it was taken wrongly or something else happened, I really don't know where that came from. But I did see them comments, and I thought, no, that's not me. But
because did it hurt you?
Yeah, that definitely hurt me, and it was more frustration than anything, because it was just frustration of the way I can't physically do what I want to do, even though I want to. And you will have been there towards the end of your career. You want to do things, and listen, that wasn't the end of my career. I was 28 or whatever I was, 27. That should be the prime of my career, but really it felt like I couldn't really move. But that is football, isn't it?
So when you went into Group 3,
yeah,
Bomb Squad, as it was known, I mean, you've told me stories about literally you kind of turned up and played head tennis with Steve Hodge and Roger Johnson for a bit.
Yeah, pretty much. So we were in the group, and then week by week a player would go on loan or a player would get transferred. And then in the end, I think it was me, Doyler and Rog left, and we had to come in the afternoon. The dome had just been built, and it was pretty sad, really, because I've gone from playing all them games and giving everything to all of a sudden playing head tennis. But I'm not stupid. I know how football goes, and certain things have to happen. But it fizzled out in a sad way. And then I think Doyler went to, I don't know if he went to QPR or someone, Crystal Palace, I'm not sure. And it just ended up, me and Roger just taking shots at an empty goal.
Unbelievable.
And that was it. And it didn't seem like anyone really cared too much about it. It was just an unfortunate way it fizzled out for me. And then I think I got a loan to Blackpool. I got a couple of loans to Blackpool. Went there, tried my best, and still wasn't fully right. But you just try and plug away with it and do as well as you can.
Did you ever go to Kenny and say, "Look, I wasn't a troublemaker. I think I can get fit. You included me beforehand. Let me back in."
There was another pre-season where he got me back in again. He said, "Look, I'm going to give you another go," and I trained all pre-season the following year. And I got to the end of pre-season, and he sort of changed his mind again. He said, "No, we're gonna."
How did you feel? Where were your levels? Were you reaching? Were you getting back to?
I wasn't nowhere near it really.
Right.
Nowhere near it. But I was better than I was the year before, but I was still nowhere near it. And that's the unfortunate thing, you know. But that's football, as they say, isn't it? And then that's the way it finished up for me.
Yeah, not the way you wanted to.
Definitely, you know, when you're a footballer, you think, well, I'm going to do this. I'm going to have a testimonial. I'm going to finish on a high. But no way. Like, I just remember, I think I left. I signed for Copenhagen, didn't I, on loan, because they realised I wasn't in the squad. Stoller and that, I still kept in touch with him. And I went there, and I just remember driving away from the training ground after being there for 7.5 years, and I just thought, well, that's it. There was no big, do you know what I mean? Because it just fizzled out, do you know what I mean? So the first 4 years of my career at Wolves, I absolutely loved. Next 3.5, it was just a downward spiral, really. But, you know, I'm fortunate. You know, you said at the start of the show, I've played over 200 games. Really enjoyed it. I wish I'd played another 200, honestly, because I'd played 200 in about 4.5 years. Yeah. And I felt, that's the frustration for me, because I felt like I had so much more to give. And like I'm sure you will have, a lot of footballers go through it. You feel like you've got so much more to give, but you just...
Not physically possible.
You can't do it, and that's the way it goes.
We're going to get into loads more on our extended podcast, which will be available to download and listen to from all the usual places. Just before we finish, this is our Christmas special. And people might be watching this on Christmas Day or Boxing Day or whatever. When we did it last year with Matt Murray, we got some stories of Christmas nights out, the players' Christmas parties. Oh, yeah. Now, I think I'm right in saying the lads this year ended up having their Christmas party in like October because we've had so many games. Right. What were you like on Christmas parties?
I was all right, steady.
Put it away, didn't you?
Yeah, it was good.
It's one of those that the eyes would just glaze over, but Kev was just Kev, wasn't it?
Yeah, glazed over. It was good. I love Christmas dues. Like, I love the getting, we'd start talking in about October, right, what we're doing, where we going, right, and there'd always be a vote in the dressing room, right, who wants to go Glasgow, who wants to go to Dublin, who wants to go to London.
Newcastle. And Dublin was the two that I had here.
Yeah, they were good. And it's
fancy dress?
Fancy dress.
Always,
so let me give you a little story. Michael Kitely, fancy dress. So we've said, right, alphabet, we're gonna draw out letters. And whatever letter you draw out, that's what you've got to go as. You've got to go as something beginning with that. So it's gone round to a few people. Kites has pulled out the letter J. And he's gone, J? What the hell am I going to go as a J? And then he's gone, I know, a giraffe. A giraffe. Sorry, Kites.
Oh, brilliant. Good, absolutely brilliant.
And the other time, do you know the story about Shay Alfiniana?
No. Oh, yes. Yeah. Shay has been on. And talked about it, where he was in a full Zulu's outfit.
Full Zulu outfit.
Was it not the wrong night?
The wrong night. So the fancy dress was the Sunday. We got there on the Saturday. We said, right, lads, let's go up, get into our going out gear. We'll just have a night out before the big day tomorrow. Sound. Coming down. Right, who's here? Who's not here? Shay's not here. We're at the bar in the reception, so you can see the lift. We're like, where is he? All of a sudden, the lift opens. Shay steps out. Size of Shay, by the way. Zulu, big spear. Comes out the lift. And we're like, and then the thing is, Neil Collins has gone to me. He's gone, by the way, I'm not sure if that's his fancy dress or that's his going out gear, so I don't want to offend him. So he's like, I don't know if I should say to him because it might be his going out gear. Thinking, well,
Scottish,
he's not carrying a spear out in town, is he? Sure. Mate, it was a classic.
Brilliant.
Oh, dear.
Absolutely.
I love Shay.
There is loads more that we're going to talk about, including nights out between these two and plenty more, and including Kevin Foley's time at Billericay singing in the dressing room. We're going to try and get it out of him on the extended podcast. Make sure you download that from all the usual places. Thank you very much for watching and listening to us this year, even with my croaky voice on this episode. Have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.